Hi guys, this is Gary, and I'm making this video about Lightroom 4, specifically importing. So hopefully I will be clearing up any confusion. Right off the bat here, you're looking at a blank catalog. I just created this brand new catalog inside of Lightroom 4. Has nothing in it. We're going to bring in photos in several different ways. But first, let me point out a few things by way of explanation. I created a folder on my hard drive called HD. And this is basically, just pretend this is a disk, pretend it's a hard drive. Because I want to recommend that you, right off the bat, if you create a master folder, and put all your photos in that folder, your Lightroom life will be much easier. Trust me on that. So if you can do that, I would do that before you even launch Lightroom. Just get that squared away, create one master folder and have all your subfolders, all your photos in different folders, have them all be in that one folder. Okay? So that's what this represents. There is the folder called HD, that's your disk, and then there's two folders in here right now, one called LR Photos for Lightroom photos, and inside that folder are three subfolders. And they each of these three subfolders contain images. And then there's this importing folder that was actually created by Lightroom 4 because I created a new catalog called importing because it was for this tutorial called importing. Let's say this was an external hard drive. Instead of being a folder called HD, it was an external, say, USB drive called HD. If you save your catalog with that, inside that drive with your photos, you can go anywhere and work on any computer that has Lightroom 4 installed. So it's a good idea to save your catalog where your photos are, is my point. All right, so let's go back to Lightroom 4. And we're looking at a blank catalog. There are several ways to import your images. We're going to look at all of them. So you can go import. There's a button down here. If you click that, you'll get the import window, or you can go File, Import Photos and Video. Either way, you're going to come to this window. There are three areas where you select your source, where, this is where you're going to see the material you're going to be importing, and then your destination. All of the photos that I want to import are inside this folder called Lightroom Photos, which is inside this folder, which we're pretending is a hard drive called HD. And all of those photos come up in the main window here. So if I drill down even more, you can see that I actually have three subfolders: Lucille, Paris, Thompson Park, each with photos in them. If I click on Lightroom Photos once again, I get to see all of them. So the point is, I have chosen my source, LR Photos, which is a folder. Now, I have a couple choices. I'm going to click Add. And when I click Add, my options regarding my destination are limited, which is actually, in a way, very good because it's a lot less confusing, less to deal with. Watch what happens when I hit Move or Copy. We have all this stuff now we have to deal with. But Add, almost nothing. Here's why. First of all, render previews, no matter how you're importing, just make sure that that's set to minimal because that'll take the least amount of time. Don't import suspected duplicates is just a wise thing to always have checked. And you could choose Make a Second Copy to, and then it would have another, I could have another destination, but apparently it's grayed out. No, that's okay. It's grayed out, duh, because I'm simply adding. I'm not going to move or copy anything, I'm adding. If I choose Move, now I can check that. All right, my bad. Anyway, so no problem there. Apply during import. So you never want to import development settings. Why would you do that? You can, in the develop modules where you're going to be changing the images, so that makes no sense to me. Anyway, metadata, this is important. You should always create a metadata file for you. And if you don't have one, then you're going to go to Edit Presets, and up comes an Edit Metadata Presets window where you would input whatever information you want. You've got a lot of stuff here. So you would put in your copyright here, copyright year, copyright status would be copyrighted, rights, terms of usage terms, copyright info URL, like if you have Digimark or whatever stuff. your name, a bunch of stuff here. That's the bottom line. You can fill all this stuff in. You can go as deep as you want for as much information as you want. Fill that out, and then when you hit done, it's going to ask you, do you want to save this? And you're going to go save as and name it. In my case, I said my data. You could name it your name. You could name it metadata, whatever you want. I'm going to cancel because I already have one. All right, so back to here. Since I know these images already have metadata, I'm going to choose to do none. But you wouldn't do that. You would probably, in my case, I named it my data. You would choose your metadata file that you just created, and then Lightroom will automatically bring in your metadata to all of the photos that you import. So that's kind of important. You could keyword here if you wanted. I'm not going to because I've got disparate images. I can't think of any generic keywords which would cover them all. So I'm just going to leave that blank. You can always keyword later on. And that's really it. And that's really why I started with add, because it's a no-brainer. If you're happy with the file structure that you already have on your system, then just choose add, because Lightroom does nothing. There's no copying. There's no moving. Nothing. So I'm just going to simply go import, and it's going to add these images in their file structure. So you can see up here, now I've got this folder called LR Photos. Inside are the 3 folders, and just like I showed you on my system, they came in exactly the way I had already set them up. So once again, this is definitely the way to go. If you've already got your folders organized the way you want them, it's a no-brainer. Nothing ever changes. So just do this and you're done, you know. That's all there is to it. Okay, but one other thing. If you right-click on this folder and go to Show Parent Folder, now you can see here's my folder called HD, which we're pretending is a hard drive. So you can see that all Lightroom did was simply mimic the file structure that already existed. And a lot of times that's all you need to do, and that's great. All right, but I'm going to go remove. I want this folder removed, and I'm just going to remove it. Now it's gone. So now we're back to our original state. There's just nothing. So empty catalog once again. This time I'm going to go import. This time I'm going to go move. And now we have a bunch of stuff to deal with. We've already dealt with all the other stuff up here. File handling. Oh, okay. File renaming. If I wanted to, I could rename my files. That wasn't available when I was adding because you've already got the file names. At least I don't think it was available. Anyway, renaming files. Here I could come up with a custom name. I could name it shot file name sequence, custom name, just a bunch of stuff here. If you choose custom name, you can put in a custom name. I'm not going to because I'm already happy with my file names, but that's very seldom the case when you're coming in off a camera, for example. But I'm going to leave that unchecked and apply during import, nothing in my case, but you would want to change metadata to your metadata file. Now, here's where it gets a little dicey. So I have to figure out where I'm going to copy these, or in this case, move these files to, and how I'm going to do it. So before I do anything, I'm going to come up here and create a destination. I'm going to go Other Destination. And I'm going to I'm just going to create a folder on my desktop called Move, because that's what I'm doing. Or you know what? No, it just makes more sense to call it Destination. And this could be a hard drive. It could be a folder on your current drive. It could be anything you want. I'm just going to call it Destination for the sake of clarity. Although I would never actually call anything that. Okay, so I'm going to go choose. Now we have this destination folder, and now Lightroom knows to move the source files into this destination folder. So here I have Lightroom, here's my source, and it's going to move into this folder called destination. But look what happened. Let me change my organization options to one folder. That's the simplest thing, okay? So into one folder. Now, it's going to take all of the photos that are in LR Photos, even though they're in subfolders. It's going to take all of those images and throw them into this folder called Destinations. That's one option for moving. And by the way, that's also available for copying. The only difference between copying and moving is copying will leave your original files intact, moving won't. So I'm going to go back to Move for now, and I'm going to show you a different option. By original folders. Okay, the minute I choose original folders, Well, look, now I've got this destination folder, then LR Photos, then the subfolders, Lucille, Paris, and Thompson Park. So whenever you see a folder with a little plus sign on the lower right-hand corner, that means Lightroom has created that folder. And in this case, if you go over here to your source, it exactly mimics my folder structure on the source. So when I move, it'll come over here, put all these photos into the destination folder with the same folder structure. I think I've repeated that enough. Okay, so that's cool. I mean, if that's what you want, you can do it that way. You can copy or move. That's another option. Here's still another option. Check this out. By date. All of a sudden, look at all these subfolders. What Lightroom has actually done is gone over, analyzed all of my images by date, created its own file structure by year, month, and day. Year, month, day, etc. Right? How cool is that? So basically, Lightroom did all this. I didn't. So, and it so happens this is the way I work. Now, if you understood that, then I recommend you work this way. If you didn't understand this last deal by date, then you know what? Don't do it, because you can very easily get screwed up. And I'm going to show you that in a second. But first, so here, what's going to happen, I'm going to choose copy. So I just to save a little time later on. So it's going to copy all these images. I'm going to do it by date, and you'll see what will happen. So I'm going to go import. Now, the import dialog box goes away. Now we're back in the library module interface. So if we look over here, sure enough, we have two new folders that were not there before. 2012, and if I drill down, I've got a date, April 20, and I have 24 images, April, and all these days, the 12th, the 13th, etc. So it redistributed these same images into its own folder structure by date, down to individual days. Lightroom did that, not me. I work this way. It works really well. Lightroom automatically takes care of everything with one caveat, and it happens to be a pretty big one. So check this out. I'm going to go to import, and I'm going to choose I'm going to choose a different source. Oh, let's go to my point and shoot. Yeah, point and shoot. And we'll choose close to home. All right, so these are a bunch of images. They happen to be, they're the raw files. It's going to take a little longer. So, all right, well, I'll just uncheck all and then simply choose, I'll click on the first one, shift click on, say, up to there, and check one of them. They all get checked. Now, all those checked images are going to come in. All right, so now my destination. Check it out. Over here, I'm still on organized by date, and Lightroom created a 2011 year, December 12, and then a day. And it created all the folders for all the days, but since it so happens all the images that I selected to import all fell on December 1st, it creates a folder called December 1st. All right, so that's pretty cool. Now, that's fine. If, however, I get confused, which I have done, and say I choose, for some reason, I'm not really thinking I'm in a hurry, and I just happen to select this. All of a sudden, look what happens. Inside the 2013 folder, inside the 03 folder, inside the day 03, it creates another year for 2011, December 12th, and it's buried like about 5 folders deep. So the point of this is that you always have to choose your root folder. If you remember to do that, which in this case is called destination, if you remember to do that, Lightroom will accurately and efficiently keep track of all the images you bring in by date. You won't have to do anything. So check out, watch this video a few times to be sure you know what you're doing. And once you decide on an import strategy, I would urge you to stick to it. That way, you will work more efficiently moving forward. All right, I guess that's it for now. See you guys later.